Thank you so much for walking down and being on the podcast.
Yes, I'm like literally a block away.
I know. And no offense, I'll throw you under the bus and you still couldn't find the place.
I know. I'm new to Riverside. I've only been here 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, maybe close to five.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
I'm Victoria Chediak. I'm the owner of Things They Love. We are a kids' toy shop here on Main Street. We focus mainly on curated open-ended toys, wooden toys, non-electronic toys for ages 0 to 9, depending on the child. And yeah, and I'm just excited to be here.
Well, why don't you tell, like, obviously that is a interesting, I remember walking, because I used to live on Main and 3rd, so I would walk past you guys all the time. There was a Curves there before.
There was a Curves.
That's the
Yes,
Curves.
there was a Curves, and then we took over February of this year.
I was shocked that Curves went down.
They moved. They just moved.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think that the location probably was, I don't know. I feel like I think the owner sold, and then the person who bought it moved it to a different space. And I've seen photos of the new space, and it's much more like gym-like.
The other place was like literally,
weird.
they'd have the door open, and it was like, I never knew what it was. Like, it was like an office room with like machines in a circle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I walked in, the carpet was so bad.
Yeah.
It was just this ugly floral carpet. The walls were beige. It said Curves on the wall. Like, fluorescent lighting. I still want to change the lighting, but it's so expensive. And I just couldn't imagine working out in that space. The only positive was that it was on Main Street and that you walk out and you're like on the beautiful Main Street.
Yeah, and you walk around.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't imagine working out there. Like, I couldn't even imagine. Like, it was hard for me to like picture somebody was like, this is where I would get dressed. I'm like, this is my storage room.
Yeah, right.
I would not want to get dressed in here.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's different now.
Yeah.
It's colorful. It's bright. It smells like wood.
Yeah. This show is sponsored by Resilient Real Estate Group, powered by EXP. So, you're thinking about buying and selling soon? Yes, we know you probably know a realtor, your mom's best friend's cousin's neighbor who puts her face on the local shopping cart. But you know what? Our friends at Resilient Real Estate Group have helped hundreds of thousands of people sell houses over the years, and they definitely know what they're doing based on their 5-star review on Google and Zillow. So, it doesn't matter if you're looking to buy $1 million house or a fixer-upper, make sure the next time you're thinking about buying and selling real estate, you give our friends a call over at Resilient Real Estate Group. And now we're back to the show. So what made you get this idea? Because obviously we're in 2022 right now.
Yeah.
To think lack of technology is probably the most unknown thing that people are pushing for. Where'd the idea come from?
Well, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 2 now. When I first started the business, I had my son, Nash, and, you know, I was very particular, and I'm probably one of those, like, cases of, you know, daughter-in-law or, you know, baby mama. I don't even know what the term is I want to use now at this point, but that grandparents probably don't like, because I'm so like, I don't want these toys. I don't want to be wasteful. Like, we honestly, genuinely would tell people, like, just don't give us gifts. Like, we're okay with that.
I'm pushing for the no. I honestly believe there should be no more gifts.
Yeah,
let's stop
unless you're a kid.
Let's stop
you're a baby
with this.
And a kid.
Let's stop with the whole. You know why I say this? And now I have stepkids, but I had no kids before that. I had to always give gifts.
Yeah.
I never got gifts sent for me. No one gave me gifts for my dogs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where it's like, what the heck?
Okay. At some point in my late 20s, I was so tired of giving
gifts
to like weddings and baby showers that I was like, I'm marrying my dogs and I want to get some new stuff for my house. And actually,
100%.
People went and bought stuff off my registry. I didn't marry my dogs, you guys. This was not.
Well, it's
like
California. You can do whatever you want in this place.
I know, right? But I just like theoretically, I moved to a new apartment. Me and my dogs, we need some new stuff. I wanted some new plates, and I was just like those kind of extra things that you don't need but you want.
Yeah.
And I had friends who actually gifted it to me, so I feel like the people out there receiving gifts, they want to give you gifts back, but they just have no reason to. They don't have nothing to do. You gotta give them a reason to give you gifts back.
And then I hate this line. People always say, like, what do I give someone that has everything? I hate that line. And I go, listen. Yeah. Cash is always welcome.
Cash is king. I believe that too.
I know. Or someone will happen. They'll be like, or I'll want like a new mic. And I'm like, hey, can I get this new mic, Mom, for my birthday? She's like, I looked up. No, that's what, it's your birthday.
Yeah, but here's $50 towards that new mic.
Here is a gas card.
Yeah.
/ coupon for a free 6-inch sub from Subway.
Yeah.
So you thought, hey.
There was a need.
Yes.
I couldn't find the toys that I wanted. It was always me searching the internet, going on Etsy, shopping from like really sketch websites, things coming from like taking months to get to me and then arriving. And I'm like, is it going to be the thing that I want it to be? So the pandemic hit, and I used to work at the happiest place on earth, doing theater and stage management, and that was like what I went to school for. And I'm like a project manager type.
That might be a
person.
whole other podcast.
That might be a whole other podcast.
Working at that place.
I have a lot to say. I don't know. I guess now I could probably say it because I don't work for them. But I basically at the top of the pandemic was like, you know, I had already been dreaming about it. I had been like kind of putting the energy out there, and the pandemic happened. We were furloughed, and I basically was like, I'm going to take my tax refund. This monthly money that we were getting was like covering the bills. So I had like a little bit of room to take some risk and to kind of dream.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I was like, you know, up all night. Like I have ADHD, which is like a superpower, but it's also not a superpower.
It's the greatest power for an entrepreneur, but also makes you go bankrupt.
It's what the burnout that you get to when you like hyper focus on something. Because I actually like my business in the last 2.5 years has seen like it's gone up and down with me, you know. So when I was hyper focused and I was up all night and I was on the message boards and I was like, hey guys, I got a new toy shop, come shop my toy shop. Like I've got all these great amazing toys that I have sourced. I've vetted them. I know they're good. You're not gonna be like disappointed. And moms.
So you were a toy dealer.
I was. That's what I call myself. Actually, I'm a toy dealer.
You're like
in the beginning.
You're the middle. You're literally slinging toys.
Yeah, I was the middleman
out of
for
your trunk.
A lot of companies. It was out of my home, and I just started it online. And my girlfriend, she was like building her her portfolio for digital branding, and I had already worked with her because fun little fact. Podcasting is hard, by the way.
Thank you.
Congrats on this.
Appreciate you.
I did start a podcast, and it's called Latchkey Mama. Not to plug it because there's no reason to plug it. But I recorded a lot of episodes during this like building of my business time, where I talked a lot about development and child development and just different things. And I never got to the editing, and I only maybe posted a few episodes. It's really hard. But the point of the story is she had done my branding for that, and I was like, I knew that I liked her style, so I sat with her. She gave me a sweet deal. Like which
people do not realize how much
you need good branding.
How much branding costs?
It's expensive, and you need it. And she didn't just set me up for the moment. She set me up for success. Future, like I should plug her, Lorenta Design. Like she's amazing. She's in Florida, but amazing, and she set me up for success throughout the entire process. Like I can always go back to that branding and be like, does it fit this? No, then we're not doing it. You know?
That's so important to stay on brand. And I think that's the hard part when you're like a new business. You're like, what is gonna work?
Yes.
And then you're like, are we too narrow? Like, are we not gonna have enough clients to cover the bills?
Oh my God, all the yeses.
All the things that no one thinks about.
And so this actually has shaped my business because I was very niche, very narrow when I started online because I was marketing to a very specific clientele. Then I opened my brick and mortar. I call it a brick and mortar, but it was really it was like my version of like a studio / workspace / warehouse that looked, I call it a toy shop speakeasy, because if you didn't know that that's what it was, you didn't know it was there. There was no signs. By the way, if you ever buy a business or own a business, get a sign. Let people know you're there. They need to know that you're there. You need a sign.
Yes.
Don't do what I did. I went like 7 months without a sign, and finally when I put one up, people were like, oh, that's what's in this weird house.
And that's the problem with shops on Maine. If you're not from Riverside or in downtown, like you never know like what's open, what's not open, what's being built. Like what is someone that maybe just has storage?
Yes, exactly. Well, this was on Arlington too. So this was my first location, my first brick and mortar. It was a weird, like, looks like a pre-manufactured house. Like
Arlington and what?
On Arlington between Brockton and Magnolia. Okay, so I was between Planned Parenthood and Starbucks.
Oh, my first real estate office was on the corner, literally the opposite corner by the Palm Reading place.
Okay,
I used to walk to that Starbucks every day.
Okay, so you would walk past if I was there at that time, which I probably wasn't, but you would have walked past me. And I was the entrance was in the back. So you had to like drive into, like, it was sketchy. So basically I was at this weird location. Like that was my way of getting some different brands that would say no. Oh, you don't have a brick and mortar. You can't
that was be my next question. Why go brick and mortar?
Because it gave me more access.
Gave you more like street cred?
Yeah, but I still got no's. Because it wasn't a mall. It wasn't like a beautiful window display. It was a very homey. It literally had a real fireplace, but we made it a fake fireplace because I wasn't using it. It had a fireplace, had a kitchen, the space, like it was wild. It was a great little space. It was my first little home. I stayed there for a year and a half, and then
nice that you only had to sign a 1.5 year lease.
Oh, I signed the lease during the pandemic, so I only signed a year lease,
nice.
And then I was just month to month. After that, until he was
he was probably so pumped just to get anyone in there.
I think so, because I was able to like negotiate it down a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a tad.
I'm paying for it now because like I pay a lot now.
Are you a triple net lease down there?
Huh?
Are you a triple net lease down there?
I don't know the terminology.
Do you pay? Do you pay for your power and electric, or do you pay for your power and water?
I do pay for my power and water.
Oh, so that's not triple net lease.
No, it's not triple
net lease.
This is
a triple net lease.
We pay for everything, and then I think at the end of the year we like all, including the owner, split cost.
We do that too, but we don't pay for any power or water here.
Oh, we pay our power and water.
Other than if you leave the air on after 6 o'clock, it's $60 an hour.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Weird. Also, how do they know? But okay, I'm sure there's.
I mean, I'm leaving this year. I've never gotten hit with a bill, and I know we've left it on before. So I think it's like a threat.
Like a fake warning. Don't let them hear this podcast. Mm-hmm. They're gonna come after
Trust
you.
me, no one listens to this anyways. These aren't even plugged in. You know what I mean? These cameras are fake.
It's all fake.
This is all fake.
This is all fake.
This is just.
I mean, we live in the Matrix, right?
Everything.
Do. Okay, so this is something this is the most ADHD conversation we're having. But I do feel like ever since I've become a true business owner, because I have been an entrepreneur like my whole life.
Yeah.
I've owned many of the businesses. I've tried many of the things, and I landed here, which I think is a fitting place for me. I'm all about. Imagination, and I love children. I, grew up, and every time you ask me, what do you want to be? I just want to be a mom. I just want to be a mom. And I get to be a mom. I get to sell my toys. I hope to continue. I want to be Miss Tiggy Winkles. Like, I want to be here for 40 years.
Which, that's crazy. Yes. That place is still down there.
But I do believe that ever since I became a business owner, I realized, like, how fake the world is. Like, everything, there's the transferring of money and the excess. Like, if you have a business idea, you guys, I'm just putting out there if you're listening, and it's profitable in a short amount of time, people will give you money, and they'll say, yes, here's some expensive money, so you pay us back, and we make our cut on it, and you get to build your business however you see fit, and that you get to have that control over it without investors. They're like silent investors, right? So I don't know, ever since, I do feel like the Matrix is somewhat real. Since becoming a business owner, I'm like, this is just like
the crazy thing that people also don't process is that when you play on a bigger game, like what people don't realize is like you say numbers out there and people are like, no way. But it's like, dude, Elon just borrowed like $30 billion to buy Twitter. Yeah. Like, he didn't front the $44 billion.
No.
Someone gave him $30 billion.
Smart on him.
Exactly.
He's spending someone else's money. He's living off of, debt almost. And then at the end of the year, like, he doesn't. Yeah,
that's great if it's profitable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like right now, I live off credit cards just because of the points and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, I get like a few $1,000 back every month.
I wish I was smart enough.
It took me 3 years to do that.
I can't even. I'm a very like cash only person because I will forget to pay the bill and then overspend, and I never get to the point where like the points are coming in.
The credit card.
Credit cards, like I have some, and I'm like, they keep them like at
I used to be that way.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, I overspent.
You have to kind of get into the cycle.
I've overspent.
Yeah.
And now I'm like credit cards. Like I didn't have a debit card for 4 months.
No, it's true.
And the only reason I got one because I was getting annoyed by having to walk in the bank to like put cash in my account and stuff. But it's dangerous. Like I looked at it today, I was like, oh God, $9,000 on the credit card, $10,000. I got to pay that off next month. Like holy.
Well, and so for me, I mean, today I wired a similar amount to a toy shop, to a toy company because I get net terms, So like there's just, I don't know, business is so interesting. You really do have to learn Like, that's why when we weren't on, I don't think we were recording, but we were talking about payroll, and we were talking about paying people to do work that that's not what you're not good at. They're going to make you money. You hire an employee. If they're a good employee, they're going to make you money, and they're going to pay for themselves. And that's kind of how that's like what I keep smacking into my own head, because I'll get in my own way and say, like, no, I don't want to pay someone to do that job. And it'll be a year of me not paying someone to do that job, and that job either got done poorly or didn't get done at all. And then eventually I go and I spend the money, and I realize, wow, what a change. Like, I actually have an email that goes out twice a week, and I don't have to be the one that does it, and it makes me money. And it pays for itself, even if it breaks even. Like, I'm happy with that.
What takes stress off your
it does.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a mom. I'm a single mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a member of my community. Like, I can't do it all. Like, people have to come in and do the work that they're good at. So I depend on my employees heavily. I depend on those other professionals that are experts in their field to help make sure that my business is as profitable and as good as it can be. Is it at its best? I want to hire a CFO. I need a CFO.
Oh, I need one so bad.
Desperately. Every business, every entrepreneur probably needs a CFO to tell them, stop spending money.
I don't
spend it here, don't spend it there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's spending the money part. It's just like finishing the projects or getting the people in place to finish the projects that need to get done.
Yeah.
Kind of like this. I'm supposed to send out 2 mass emails a month, and like, I forgot I didn't do my second one this month, and I'm like, God dang it! Like, because you just get so wrapped up in other things.
Consistent.
Yeah,
you want to be consistent for your audience. You want to be consistent for your customers. I feel sad when my customers send me messages like, "Came by your toy shop and it was closed today," and it's like, sorry, like, I'm a single mom.
When are you guys open?
We're open right now, Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, Friday 11 to 9, Saturday 9 to 9, Sunday 11 to 7. It used to be 11 to 6.
How do you guys do on the farmers market on Saturday?
Saturday's our best day. So I would say that's like our day that we kind of depend on every week. So it's our busiest day. I would say since we've opened, there's never been a Saturday that I'm like, maybe like one Saturday where I'm like, that's not great, but it's all right. Like, I'm still so new. 50% of my clientele like didn't know we existed. Every time we get new shoppers every day, especially with the Michelin lights coming. Like, I don't think it's like anything out of this world. I'm hearing from a lot of people this year it's a lot slower, but what I'm seeing is that we're getting a lot of locals, because I'm always like, I'm surprised. Oh, we didn't know you were here. I'm like, oh, are you from Riverside? Like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm so happy you know that.
Dude,
we
Riverside is
exist
so big. So you've been here 4 years?
I've only lived here since 2018.
What made you come into Riverside?
My son's father, his family's out here. He also worked at the happiest place on earth, but also worked for RCC. So I felt like it made more sense to be out here near family. I don't have family out here. I'm from Florida. So
what part?
Miami.
Yeah. Nice.
It's fun. I love Riverside though. Like, honestly, the pace, the people, like everything about Riverside, I'm like, this is great. Like, this is such a great, almost like underdog city in California that people probably don't give it as on. Yeah, it does.
Everyone shits on Riverside.
Everybody, like, I'm not from here, you guys, and so obviously I have all of the stereotypes were told to me before I even came to Riverside, and I was the one who pushed to move here eventually. Like, I was like, I fell in love with the home.
Did you start out at Disney World?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Florida until I was 21 and moved here, and I haven't been back. Got it. And I'm 34 now. So.
Still the oldest one on the podcast.
It's
today.
okay.
Damn it.
It's all right. It's your podcast.
It is my podcast. I should be the wisest and oldest. So it's and it's so crazy about Riverside. It's like maybe like in the early 2000s, Riverside was like like lifted trucks everywhere, flat billed hat, like that was.
But that was the early 2000s.
That's exactly.
That was the early 2000s.
I think
like
the
wherever you looked.
I think the issue with Riverside is Riverside's stig is this: is that like one, it's a lot. Oh, I was talking to the guy before that you came on the podcast. Like, it's a lot older than people think. Like, this building we're in right now was built in 1901. Yeah. Like, it's just
my home that I used to live in. I don't live in it. It was a home built in 1910.
So it's like Riverside's one, old. Two, it used to be the hopping spot. Like, it used to be like the city where if you lived out in the IE, like if you had money, you lived here. Like, this was the spot. The problem is now I graduated in 2005. Most people now go to LA, go to Orange County. Yeah. They leave. And I think Riverside's done a bad job, and this is me spitballing, is like keeping like those high paying non-blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
Where there's nothing wrong about blue collar jobs, but like if you want tech, you
yeah.
leave.
Mm-hmm.
If you want big banking, film, whatever, you leave.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard part is like if you are someone, you leave.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
Yeah, exactly. Like I get a lot of people who come to my toy shop and they're like, wow, I wouldn't expect this to be here. This is like an LA toy shop.
Yeah, right?
And it's like, or this is a kind of toy shop you'd find in Irvine or whatever. And it's like, nah, there's kids everywhere. Like we need these toys everywhere. And I'm happy. I think if anything, thank God they're here in Riverside. We're a very centrally located place.
You are centrally located.
You know, you can come from Anaheim or you can come from San Diego and it's not going to be a crazy drive, or you want to come from LA, make a day out of it. It's not going to be an insane drive. Like it's just pick the right time of day and stuff. And
do you push a lot of online sales?
We were predominantly online until I moved to Main Street, and that completely turned itself on its head.
Really?
Like I went from being a predominantly online shop to being predominantly in store. And it's not that my clientele from online is now shopping in store. It's that I just stopped paying attention to them. I was very big on Reels. You could often find me in my store just making reels, but when I moved to the Main Street location, there was such an uptick in actual foot traffic because I had none before that. So I had this space and time to focus on.
Like, and almost like the other place was like a studio.
It really was. Like it was a little house studio. You had to make appointments to come, and then once we stopped having appointments, again, it was just. If you caught us, we were there. If you didn't catch us, like we weren't there. There was no like hours posted. It wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, that's me.
There wasn't anything real. I don't know. It just was like you were lucky if you caught us.
Yeah.
Now there's more consistency. For the most part, we're almost always open. We do close for like lunch breaks to stay, legal and following the rules.
Yeah.
And and I'm actively pushing and trying to push that our mall and everybody in our mall is open 7 days a week because we are a mall and people should know that you can come shop here.
The parking's hard, that's why.
Parking's hard, but we validate for 90 minutes behind our parking lot for anyone who wants to come shop. And most of the stores validate with purchase. I think Graham Stick charges $1. It's not a lot compared to what you pay for parking in downtown.
Yeah.
And then parking is free right now on the weekends.
Oh, on the weekends, yeah.
On weekends, I think Friday.
Friday,
After 5.
After 5, it's free.
It's free, and then on the weekends it's free. So that might change. I am not keeping up with the parking debacle in the city. I have not.
Pissed.
Well, since we have our own lot, I'm just like, it doesn't impact us. It does. I'm just not paying attention to it.
Pissed.
It was only up for like a week before they were like, okay.
Month.
Oh, it was like a month.
Dude,
I had a baby probably during that time.
It went
from
$70 a month because I park in a structure and I pay for my videographer. $70 a month to $180 a month.
That's a lot.
Overnight.
But what was the daily rate for people?
Same. Oh, the thing that changed for the daily rate was no more free parking for 90 minutes. Oh, wow. And it was $1 per half hour, not $1 per hour.
See, our parking's pretty expensive. It's like $2 per half hour or something. So like
but you have that
but
you have the parking in front of the
And if you're smart, you park across the street where it's free.
By the convention center.
Yeah, or like by Chiba Hut.
Yeah.
That area, just like by the
I actually
hotels.
have not been to Chiba Hut yet.
It's good.
That's what everyone tells me.
It's good. I like it.
I haven't walked over there yet.
It's like Quiznos but elevated.
Oh, nice. Well, Quiznos went out of business, so.
Oh, bummer. That was my first job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 14 years old, probably not legally, but I would wash their racks every night for 2 hours.
Quiznos.
It was good.
It was a great place.
It was really good. I worked at a really busy one where they pre-warned you when you get hired. They say, come really well fed for your first shift because everybody faints. And I was like, all right, you got it. Ate a good breakfast, and sure enough, I'm like standing there behind the oven, and I'm just pouring soup. I'm not even working the oven, and I hand the soup to the customer, and I'm fainted. And it was it was like the busiest Quiznos in Florida.
Wow.
I don't know if they're still in business. I'm assuming not, since you said Quiznos went out of business.
Yeah, Quiznos had a big issue, actually.
What happened?
The reason why they went out of business was the corporation would market coupons.
And then they wouldn't work?
And they would bring the coupons in, and then the owners of the Quiznos would never get reimbursed from the coupon that the the whole main company.
And I met those owners. Like, they were all mom and pop owned Quiznos.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what people don't realize. A lot of places you go to are not owned by the corporations.
No.
They're all mom and pop spots.
Yeah.
So for you, like, when was the moment in time? I was, like, trying to find this story. Do you remember the moment in time you're like the exact moment you're like, F it, I'm going to quit. I'm going to take this. I'm going to build toys. I'm going to be the toy dealer on the West Coast.
Yeah. Well, so with the pandemic, that was kind of like let me do this. And then we all came back from the pandemic. So like a year later, they call us back to work off of furlough. And I had to make a decision, like go back to work or continue putting, that risk. Because, the first couple years of a business, you're not profiting.
I'm at 7. I still feel like I have
not. And
not.
honestly, I would say like give 5+ years before you really see.
I think you just get used
changing.
Well,
too.
and the economy's different, and I also think you just get used to the stress level.
You get used to living in that,
this
in that
limbo
world.
of like,
what's
okay,
next? When is that gonna happen?
So I can pay my rent 3 days late and not get fined. Perfect. Let's do that, right?
You're always like, who can I give money to right now?
Last, yes.
Yeah, last. Who do I pay last? Yeah, I get that.
Who can I say the check's in the mail, and it like isn't in the mail, and then they call me a week later and be like, oh, it actually got returned for some crazy reason.
Oh my gosh! No,
all right, let me send out another one.
I'm like, I pay everything, so I mean. There's a lot of, I pay a lot of things by wire transfer, so it's hard for me to even like,
I love checks.
Say anything.
I
can't find my checks, and I, like I said, have ADHD, so to sit down and order new checks, I haven't. So I just pay the $25 fee.
Never.
They talk about the ADHD tax. There it is, $25 wire fee instead of just writing a check for an amount that's in my bank account.
I write a check. I one time overdraft my own payroll on myself.
On your own payroll.
On my own self, because I didn't transfer the funds from one account to another, and I was like, what the dumbest mistake. I literally just got charged for overdrafting myself for myself.
Yeah, or just that little thing of like I paid something out of the wrong account. So then it didn't go through, and it's like, but the money was there in that one. So,
and then my CPA is like, what are you doing?
Yes. I feel like, so Disney calls back and tells me it's time to come back to work. And so I'm like, okay. At that time, my story is kind of tied heavily into my own personal life, and I don't want to get like emo on the podcast.
You can do whatever you want.
A lot of things happened in 2021.
Were you listening to like Hawthorne Heights and all that stuff at that time?
What is that? Hawthorne Heights. That's very
emo band.
That's emo band from the 2000s when we were probably like middle schoolish. Yeah.
I think I was in high school.
High schoolish, early high school times.
You were, maybe.
Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah. They were like opening for Ashley Simpson at the time.
Yeah.
So my relationship with my son's father, that was something I had ended in the early 2021. And then so I was kind of rebuilding my life as a single mom, as a business owner. My employee, who was kind of like keeping things afloat there at the shop while I figured life out, because you have a lot of things you have to figure out. She was like, I got to go back to being a mom. And I was like, okay. And I had accepted my job back at the parks because I was like, the right thing to do is to make sure that my family is taken care of, and so like the businesses can wait. They can all like wait. I had people calling me like, hey, are you going to pay your invoice? And it's like, my shop's not open. The doors aren't open. Like, people are ordering, but I'm not even getting shipments out. Like, it was stressful.
Yeah.
And then my father passes.
Oh my God.
So it was just like thing after thing after thing. And, there is grace in all of that, and I'm not gonna cry, but I do think like he didn't die. Like, it's weird. Like, I do believe in a higher power. I believe our paths are like laid out, and his like passing like literally saved like not just me and my like my business, but like saved my life, because I was going under as a single mom. I was like, I can't do this alone. I can't figure it out. And it was a very high conflict separation. So there was at the beginning no help, It was just like, and like, and I say this that like to anybody also out there that might be going through it, like there's hope. It gets better. People heal and you get through it. And
time heals everything.
It does. It takes
as
time.
much as you think like I'll never.
Yeah, I really, and I come from like a home of like a family of divorce, so I had a really good picture of what I didn't want, and and then my son's father comes from like the complete opposite. His parents have been married since high school, and it's just like I don't understand that, but like so it was a hard time. And then my father passing, he was my best friend and my partner in like everything I did it because like I had his support. Yeah. And so when he passed away, he was able to obviously like leave something behind for me, and that carried me through the depression of losing your parent, the grief of everything that I was experiencing, and it allowed me to kind of dream on a bigger level that I didn't know how I was going to get there on my own. I was never going to get there on my own. It would have taken, like this, people look at me like, how do you do it on? Like, I could not have done it without that like almost the sacrifice that God made with my dad. It's weird to say that.
Well, you could say that like his plan was over. Yeah. And it was his plan was to take care of his daughter.
And I do think in life and living, he would have fully supported this. He was always like, okay, let's like, if I would tell him like, Dad, I want to bring in this new brand, but like this month I wouldn't be able to afford it, but if I don't do it this month, it's going to be like a long time before I can do it. And he would always support that because it was like such a small investment to make in me to help build this bigger thing. And look at it now. Like I do free events for the community. We just had Santa Claus that was at our shop, and the kids got to meet Santa. People outside got to meet Santa that weren't able to meet Santa like down the street because he had too much of a line or whatever, was too expensive. I don't know what the price is, but I know that people appreciated not having to pay to see Santa. We do face painting, we do educational events, we do story times when we can. Like we do as much as we can to give back to the community. I mean, I'm always like, I can't be on the floor because I give. Like, I'm a giver. Like, you come when I'm there and you give me the right look, I'm going to be like, here's 15% off. Please take it. Like, I don't want you to leave anything behind. Like, I always, I didn't say it, but you talked on like, almost like you're narrow or you're too wide or this and that. And when I moved to Main Street, like, I had a lot of changes I had to make in the product I was bringing in to make sure that we were fully accessible to everybody who walked through our doors. Like, I don't want someone coming in and their child picking up a $300 toy, which we do have a lot of those, and not being able to at least leave with a little tiny wooden figure that's $7, $10, which isn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things for most families. Yeah. And and I just have like this passion to kind of build this legacy for my family so that God forbid anything ever happens to me, they're taken care of the way that my dad made sure that, without even realizing that was going to happen, because he was taken out by COVID. He was 62 years old. Like, it wasn't supposed to happen, but it was, whatever, however you want to look at it. Like, there was a lot there because I was fighting for my life. Like, I can't explain it without going into like all of the legal details and all of the things, but I was literally fighting for my life. I live 3,000 miles away from my family. No one could come help me. No one would come help me because everyone has their own problems. Like, everyone's in survival mode in America. Like, we're all like living in this like day-to-day grind and this survival mode. And my dad was high risk. He's like, I can't fly out to come help you. Like, all he could do was throw money at the situation. My mom, who I don't have like a great relationship with, was like, I can't, like, she did the most narcissistic thing, was like, I told you when you moved to California that, your dad and I would just never be able to hop on a plane and come help you. And it's just like, how many parents would do that if they could? And like, for you to just spit that at me when I'm in like the grips of like the hardest time of my life. And I've had a lot of growth living here in California. I would never tell my daughter, who's had like the most amazing growth of her life here in California, like, how dare you move there? Like, your daughter's happy. You should just be supportive and try to figure it out. If you can't make it, who can you send? Because I was like, I just needed someone to sit with me and like hug me and like hold my baby while I fell apart, and like no one was able to do that. So when my father passed, and like I'm obviously very sad by that, but like money does make situations better. And thankfully he was smart enough to have a life insurance policy and have things in place that were able to let me like mourn properly, because I had that happen, and I was in the situation I was in, and like nothing was coming to me to help me be a little bit stable. I would have probably like, I don't think I would kill myself because I'm not that person, but I would have gone into a very deep, dark place that would have been difficult to get out of, I would imagine. Like, I can't even picture it because it just didn't happen, thankfully. But like, it's just weird how the world works and timing. So I'm like, every day is a gift. I try not to take what I have for granted. I want to give back. I want to build that legacy, and then, you know, just continue to support families through the shop, because the stuff that the media, like this morning I was watching the news and I even posted on my stories, like the toys they were suggesting is just like, you talked about going away from the technology, why we go away from the technology with the kids, you know, because you need to let them be bored. You need to let them use their imagination. And if they have something, like they say, oh, these light up toys, they teach cause and effect. It's like, no, it doesn't teach cause and effect. What teaches cause and effect is if you like line up a set of blocks and you hit one, and then you can talk about cause and effect in real life. But pushing something and like something popping up and like, or lighting up, it's just a dopamine hit, just like our cell phones, just like, you know, the things that we have as adults attachment issues with. And there's a very obvious shift in my own child when I watch him playing with the toys that kind of force him to have it's called small world play, or there's different kinds of play, but where he talks with his toys, and they're dinos, plastic dinos. I'm not even saying that toys need to be wooden.
I was gonna say, why do you lean towards wood? We
lean towards wood because it lasts longer, it's better for the environment. You know, there's a durability aspect to it. You know, to me, there's the heirloom quality that you can put it away and it can be decorative, or it can be something you can pass down. You're not gonna like really want to save plastic toys. Maybe some of like maybe sleek animals, which are like a really nice quality plastic animal, but like, I don't know, to me, you can bury our toys, you know, the wooden toys, you can put them in the grass, in the ground, and they're not going to harm the earth. You know what I mean? Like, but you can have plastic toys that are open-ended. We have plastic toys in our shop that are open-ended. We have, like I said, I had to open that.
It's like having that, like, it's like you said, you should almost have everyone, you should be able to sell something to everyone that walks in. And that's why I hate real estate, to be honest.
Because you can't sell it to everybody.
Like, if you don't make any money.
Yeah, and if you don't have a good credit score.
I can't sell you.
If you do make money.
Yeah, I can't. It's like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I can't do anything about it. And I think the hard part too is it's like, then when someone walks in, even probably for you sometimes, it's like, I'm sorry, but this is like the going rate for these type of toys.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that you can't afford it.
It is. It's heartbreaking.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I can't be on the sales floor, because I'm that person. I'm like, here you go. Like, I do stuff like that all the time, and then I walk to the back of my shop and I have like a cringe moment, because I'm like, but I tell myself, like, maybe that was the way it was supposed to go down.
Yeah.
Like, I made that person's day, whatever it is that, like, but there is that side of me that knows, that's crunching the numbers and knows, like, that is not going to play out well for you in the long term.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel when, like, I lose a deal or something. I'm always like, that agent needed it more than me. And then I'm like, oh, that was $12,000. I'm like,
yes, like, long term, you're just like,
oh my God.
But you gotta look at it that way, because if you dwell on all of these little things that you didn't get,
you take so many more losses than wins.
Yeah, and you're focused on the wrong thing. It's just like, I don't know. There is the toy world is cutthroat. You wouldn't think that, but behind the scenes, it's pretty cutthroat. You know, people are pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And I have found that I have gone a lot further when I collaborate with my fellow toy shops, when I collaborate with the owners of those shops, when I share information, share knowledge, and actually help each other. We all grow. Like, we all kind of elevate together.
Yeah.
I opened at the same time as another toy shop in Ohio, and She and I, like, I'm so proud of her. Like, she just moved into like a giant 3,000 square foot retail location.
Wow.
And she's killing it. And I just look at her and I'm like, I know there was a time where she looked at me the same way. It was like, Victoria's killing it. I want that. I want to do that. And it's not in a how can we be against each other? No, it's in like, what is she doing that I should be doing to get there? And then I look at her, I'm like, okay, what is she doing that I should be doing to get where she is?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, like, to find like people like that in the industry that you're in versus people who are like, I'm gonna steal the brands that you're bringing in that are niche and different. Like, there are a lot of brands that I brought to America that were not here before 2020 that I gave them a household name here in America, and they're now on multiple websites and multiple toy shops. But they started with me.
Yeah.
And the reason they started with me is because they said yes to me when people said no. And I'm happy to see them grow. But originally, when people are coming in and they're like starting to post them, and it's like, that was my bread and butter. That was my shot. That was my niche brand that I brought to America that no one knew about.
Where do your
before.
brands normally come from?
All over. I have brands that come from Russia, Spain, Australia. We have toys that are not from Thailand but made in Thailand, but they're U.S. brands or they're other brands. I think Germany and Spain and Russia are kind of like the biggest places where you'll see a lot of our toys from. Poland is another place that we have a lot of toys from. Woodworking is starting to come back here in America. There are toy brands that are made here in America. The problem with that is that they're all mostly small batch. They run their own deals, so it's harder to, like, for profit.
Yeah, there's not enough margins.
Yeah, exactly. They have lower margins usually because they're small batch.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're, instead of a 50% markup, you're looking at maybe 30 to 40. And then on top of it, they run their own deals where, like, people may not feel as inclined to shop with the item from you because they can just get it from them in the U.S.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
So I do focus heavily on outside of the U.S. because that's where, like, the shipping costs and all those things add up for the consumer versus when I do it, it's going to be less impactful because I'm ordering a larger amount, blah, 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 blah. You understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I get a lot of questions like, why don't you have more U.S.? And there's also not a lot of U.S. brands. And the U.S. makes it very difficult for people to be small business owners and to be manufacturers of toys. And, you know, I feel like in other countries where this is like an art form that's been around for a long time, they're established, like, my blocks, for example, are made by a company in Russia called Scandico, and she literally spends all of the off-season training woodworkers to hand cut, paint, and all of these things, her blocks. And if it's kind of crazy, if her sales don't hit the right marks, like, she loses these toy makers to other toy makers.
Yeah.
And so she's now invested in these people, train them how to make her toys, and now they're taking that knowledge
to someone else.
So you, like, it's crazy. It's
real estate.
It's really crazy.
That's
real
estate.
So I've learned a lot over the years, and I'm really excited to see how that develops, because, like, now, like, if you ask me, like, 5-year plan, Victoria, like, what do you want to be doing? It can go so many ways. Like, I have dreams of opening, like, a single mom sanctuary. I have dreams of opening a homeschool type co-op-y place that's associated, like, to my toy shop, because we already do a lot of things like that for the community. Like, I just have everything is to help families, help kids, and be supportive of our parents in our community, because we need it. Like, there's just not enough of that for us.
Who was I talking? I was talking to someone. I think I was talking to someone on the phone the other day about, like, oh no, it was yesterday. I did a podcast yesterday. There's so many times I do them. But we were just talking about. I did a podcast yesterday with my high school teacher and my track coach, and And he was a special person to me. Like, I spent a lot of time with him. He was my neighbor. We trained morning and night, and I laid cement with him in the summer, and I knew his whole family, and I still know his whole family and all these things. And we were just talking about how important it is to have like the tribe around you. And but the problem is like we're going more like everyone on their own.
Yes.
Or your tribe is like digital.
Yeah.
When it's like that's not how humans were for so long until now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you go into a very, very small town, and it's like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
This guy does all of this for the town. This guy does all of this for the town. This person does all of this for the town. And that's just how it is. But as bigger cities and like, I know people, I'll sell someone's house. They don't even know the neighbors to the left and neighbors to the right or the neighbors across the street.
Never met them.
Who lives across? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who lives there? I've never spoken to them. I don't know. I've never spoken to them either. And it's crazy how that is now.
And I'm guilty of that.
You're a guilty person for that, yeah.
All the time.
Well, you just get so wrapped in. Life is so crazy now.
It's going like this.
I mean, we
gotta slow down.
We were kids in the 90s, but like, I just feel like the 90s was so much easier.
Because it was slower.
Yeah.
Everything was slower. And I say that because technology has sped us up. Cars are faster. Phones make everything easier. Think about, okay, back in the day, you had to pick up your phone, dial a number to call somebody. Or you maybe had a pager. But you had to go to a payphone. Like, you didn't just have this thing that you press their name and it just calls you, or you just tell the phone to call you. Like,
to the point I don't even know numbers anymore.
No one knows numbers. So I have a number that has not changed in a long time. So the
same number from high school.
Exactly. Mine was like previously my mom's work number. Then it became my number, and it stayed that way. But like, I'm the number that people call if they're in jail because they can remember that number.
Yeah.
Even friends from high school, like, you're gonna be the phone call. I'm like, okay. Too bad I don't answer numbers I don't know anymore. But point is, like, technology, I feel like, is so fast. It's sped up our lives, and I do think that children, because of that, they're being impacted negatively. Like, they just really are. You can see it. That, you see my son, he's not, like, we're not screen free. I can see it. Like, the days where I'm like, let's use more technology to help us get through the day, like, he's all like just spazzing out. And the days where I'm like, very firm with my boundaries. Yes, it sucks to hear him cry. It sucks to hear him complain about it. It sucks to, like, get through that initial hump of him being like, I just want that, like, literally raging over the TV. And then once we're past it, he kind of, like, imagine a kid walking into his room, comes out with his Beastman, He-Man toys, whatever toy he decides he wants to play with at that moment, sits down and just starts playing and can do it for half an hour without interruption. And is like a totally different kid, and comes back and then is like, all right, like, everything's like nothing happened. Like, he didn't just throw the biggest fit over a TV. And I do that a few days in a row, and I have a completely different child. Now, am I good about that? No. Do I go through phases where we use more TV? Yes. I've been sick. I've had a baby. You know, like, there's going to be times where the TV's just got to be the thing that helps us get through the day. But I am a firm believer that taking the technology out and putting more toys that are open-ended, or books, or whatever thing, even audio devices where they're not watching it but they're just listening to the story, is going to be better for their development, for their pace of their life. Being out in nature is going to be good for them. We all need that. We all need to go out and be in nature a little bit. We all need to just kind of read a book for a little while, slow down, enjoy the morning. And it's like we wake up and we're like, here's our phone. And like, I do it too. I wake up and then the first thing I checked is like, do I have any missed messages that are important? Do I have any sales? Do I have any Instagram things? Like, and I don't actually like take care of myself first. Like, there's just, all of this is because of technology. Is technology great? Yes. Has it helped our world? Yes. But I feel like we as a community and as a society, we're starting to see, like, us 90s kids, or I was born in 88, grew up in the 90s, grew up with the technology, grew up with AIM and AOL. My dad,
AOL was great.
My dad was an IT, like, software, and like, he's the IT guy. That's what he did. We had computers at a very young age. I mean, we were exposed to technology at a young age. But I feel like we still have a remnants of that kind of slower childhood. And I think a lot of us are like, okay, our lives were sped up. At some point, someone hit the fast forward button and we had to grow up fast. We had to be adults fast. We don't want that for our kids. We want them to live a slower life. We want them to slow down. And I think this is a good way too.
Yeah.
By these kinds of toys, by being intentional about how you're spending the time with them, by detaching from this, you know, and really just being with them, even if that's for 20 minutes. Like those 20 minutes of focused time and energy between you and your child or a child is monumental to them, more so than spending 100% of your time with them while also doing this and that, and like, you know, being split so many ways. You know, I think about the Tesla and how it's like a self-driving car. It's like, why can't we just drive? What happened to just driving?
Yeah.
Like, and if you're not capable of driving, you should not be driving. I mean, to some effect, to some degree, but I mean, like, there's obvious disabilities that I do hope that these kind of self-driving cars do help with. But if you're like an older person who, you know, if you're too tired to drive, if you can't see well, it's nighttime, whatever the reason that you feel you need a self-driving car, like that might not be like a born disability that this will help enhance your life. Maybe in that case, I would see that being an awesome thing, but like we should just drive and not try to do, like my friend, she wanted a Tesla so she can work while driving. And I was like, but you should just drive. Like, don't do so many things, or get a driver that drives and then you work. If that's how your life is, if you have to get that much work done in your life and being in the car takes up so much of your time. I have a love-hate for technology. Like it, as an ADHD person, like I see how heavily it impacts me as well. And how I used to have an Apple Watch because if I picked up the phone, I went down the rabbit hole, you know? So it was at least the Apple Watch would just be like a little thing where I can like, okay, I don't need to look at the phone. Now I have to keep that Apple Watch charged in order for, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's just like, so that Apple Watch sits in a drawer. Like, I don't keep it charged. Where's the charger? I don't know. I've moved 2 times in the last year. Like, so yeah.
It's crazy. A lot of people think I'm on social so much. I'm like, and I always like do this test with people. I'm like, all right, Instagram. Let's see who spends more time on Instagram. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to spend that much time on social as much as you do. And I'm like, let's go time versus time.
Yeah.
And they're like,
on the phone.
No, like, I was like, you pull up your Instagram, like time you spend on Instagram, and I'll put up mine, and I bet you I'm less than you. And they're like, no way. And I go, watch. And we go, and I'm like, I think I averaged less than 30 minutes a day on Instagram.
Oh gosh.
And people are like, how did you do? And I'm like, I do not care to go down the rabbit. We go there, we post, we get off.
Yeah, no.
We go there, we post, we check, we get off. That's it. Like I have zero.
Share meme, share meme. I don't even post. I go on and I'm just like share, like, and then I'm off, and then I get back on and do the same thing.
No, like, and luckily my team posts all my content for me, but like, I have no desire to see what's going on. Like YouTube's bad for me.
Yeah, see, I don't even go on YouTube.
Oh, I love YouTube. My girl hates me so much. She's like, all you do is watch YouTube. And I finally explained to her why I watch YouTube so much. And she goes, why? I said, it is a platform where I can jump from 5 to 10 minute videos about so many different topics. So when I do podcasts, I almost have something I can talk to anyone about.
Oh, yeah. See,
so
it's like podcasts for that reason.
So for me, it's like I have to like I think 2 weeks ago, I went from like a guy who rebuilds typewriters to like an up-and-coming rapper.
Yeah.
Like in the span of like he left, the next one came in. Okay, go.
Yeah.
And then to fill 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I try to tell her, I'm like, I'm actually like kind of doing homework.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you know what I mean? I think that's the one thing I will say. Like, I feel like 2016, maybe 19 was when I really felt the world speed up. Like the Amazon effect is very true. Everyone wants everything the next day or an hour later.
Yeah.
And I try to remind people like this used to take people weeks to get done. This used to take what's going on with this? It used to take people weeks, like to get what you want done. You want it done in an hour. Like it doesn't. We still have humans involved.
Yeah.
You didn't click a box.
Yeah.
To buy toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like.
And it's what's also like as someone who ships product, $9 a month for like unlimited free shipping is so unrealistic. Obviously, on the scale of Amazon, it's realistic, but as a small business owner, also working with Amazon customers, it's not realistic. And I have had Like something that you might learn about me over time is I am the small business owner that will kick you out of her shop if she does not like the way you're treating her employees or her or her stuff, or like, you know, whatever it is. Like I will train my customers in a sense, or even train them for the next business that they are bestowed upon. But I had a lady who spent a lot of time messaging me for this $14 item. It was a $14 item for in-store pickup. It's a popular item. It sells out quickly when things get stocked. She had placed the order. So first it was an email to tell me that the photo on the website was of a toy, but not of the actual item. And I was like, yeah, maybe my employee couldn't find the actual photo because it's a new item. So she maybe went with the closest thing possible.
Yeah.
But it is the real item. We are a true like seller for this item. Then she was like sending me another message. Hi, I recently purchased this item and I see now it's sold out. Is it still available for my purchase? I was like, if you purchased it, you have it. It's yours. And then the third message was, when will this go out? When will this item be ready? And I explained to her that week, like this is all within two days, by the way.
Yeah.
And I explained to her, I'm a single mom. My main employee was out with the flu, and I was going to be working on orders that day as quickly as possible, that I would probably be ready for that day pickup, that within that 24 hours, right? The next morning I wake up. Please cancel this order. And I responded back with her like, hi, this order is ready for pickup. We don't like canceling orders, especially when we've put as much labor into this item. Like I literally have spent, at the time I could have spent packaging your item, I had to keep responding to you. Yeah. And I'm one person, and it's only been 3 days, and our processing time is 3 to 6 days. And I told her we had a 15% restocking fee. She's like, this seems like something that you're just doing to me. And I was like, no, this is something I pull out of my pocket when I feel like it's necessary. And in this moment, it is necessary. I've spent time and effort and energy and resources on this order. That 15% of $14.99 wasn't going to be much, but it was the principle.
Yeah.
And so she put in a claim like right away with PayPal. And I was like, this. BITCH.
Some people have too much free time.
I was like, seriously, you could, of all the time you spent messaging me, you could have just come down to the store and said, hey, I put an order in. I know it's not ready, but it's a small order. Do you think you can just grab it for me?
Yeah.
We would have been happy to do that.
Yeah.
But not once did she like say that she had a time limit, that she needed it quickly. No, it was just like, and so I, very kindly pointed her towards my terms and conditions where it says like sometimes we omit things or things are not correct on our website. I then pointed her to where the change was made, of where there is now say a part that says if you don't cancel within the first 24 hours, it is going to have a restocking fee. And I just let her know like, you're not welcome at my shop. Please don't come here. And I don't want this energy. Yeah. And I let my customers know that day in my like private little Facebook group that like, we are not Amazon. Yeah. We will never be Amazon. And if you want Amazon, then go shop at Amazon, because that's not us. Don't bring that energy here. We have enough already with the holidays happening. Like we don't need an added person emailing us 5 times for an order that just was placed within the last 24 hours. Yeah. Like that's too much. And it's interesting, like the reaction that you get from people when you set boundaries in a business that is customer service oriented as well. Sorry, I hit the mic. They don't like it sometimes. And most of my customers are like, yeah, we support you, Victoria. Thanks for like, just putting reality in check, reality check. Like we are small business. And then there's people who are like, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm like, then there's the door. Yeah. Goodbye. Like, it's okay. There's plenty of other toy shops you can shop from. You don't need to support me. I'm okay with that. I trust that my clientele that loves and knows me knows where my heart is, and knows that when I say stuff like this, I am just being me, very direct. I'm ADHD. I don't really know how to sugarcoat things all the time. But I mean well. And I mean well, not just for me, but for all the other people who are trying to keep their sanity during the holiday season that are small business owners. I'll take one for the team.
I think everyone should do sales for like 6 months.
Yeah, so that they know. Some people, like the lady who commented that my post left a bad taste in her mouth and that she was going to see herself out of my group. I was like, that's fine. She said something to the effect of like, any normal adult would obviously know that 3 days is like a normal amount of time. And I said, common sense goes out the window during a holiday, during
in general,
anything stressful. If you feel like your needs are so important that I need to stop everything I'm doing to fit your needs, you're going to feel that way. And that's okay. I just don't think that that's the energy I want to be serving. There's people who will serve that kind of energy. There are businesses out there that will bend over backwards and be happy to take your money and smile on your face and then go behind your back and be like that crazy lady. No, I will just tell you to your face that I don't want your money.
Well, and it's $14, and that's before markup. That's after. Like that's literally make $3.
And this item is like a 30% markup. It's not. I don't make a lot of money off of it.
You're making like $3.
Yeah, exactly.
After it's all said and done. I think that's the crazy part. Like something I face a lot is like most realtors don't do that much, and so it's like. I don't have my work phone in here right now, and like literally I might go out there and there's one, I'm in a deal right now where the kid, like he's a kid and you know, whatever, and he calls me like 4 times a day for like nonsense. And I always tell him, please email me. My assistant manages these things.
You do not want to sell a house to me.
No. But here's the thing, you're my client, so it's different. Yeah. And if I say, hey, please put in a group text so my assistant can manage it for you while I'm doing something else. Like, see what I mean?
He's a seller for you.
He's an agent.
Agent for you.
No, he's an agent buying a house from me.
Got it.
So he doesn't even work for me.
Got it. Okay.
I have nothing to do with him other than he's buying my house.
Got it.
And he's brand new. Yes. And I told him a million times, stop calling me. Please shoot me emails. My assistant is on top of these things. She's the one that manages all these things.
If you're listening, get the message.
Exactly. Because it's like, well, where have you been? I do podcasts for small businesses. Yeah. I have a media team. Yeah. We have 30 brand new homes we're building. Amazing. We have a million other things going on. So it's like I pay this person a lot of money a year to manage these things for this and my clients. Yes. And I don't keep track of everything anyways. And I don't even know what's going on. So yes, I had to have a real heart to heart with the kid. I said, listen, I understand this is your second deal ever. Congrats. I'm happy for you. I was there one time. But if you could not follow obviously simple directions, then how are you ever supposed to get this done? And I said, some advice for you. Whatever you think is a big deal is not a big deal.
Nope.
It will be figured out.
Yes.
You will ask a million questions that mean absolutely nothing. Yes. And I go, some more advice for you. If you want to last in this industry, you can't act like this. You might have one deal right now. You can't act like this when you have 10. Yeah. Because you don't have the time and day. So it's like, just chill. Yes. I'll take care of it. Yes. We'll get through this. Yes. I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times.
There are no big deals.
There's no big deals.
Huge lesson in life.
You think, and I told him, I said, I was exactly you when I first started. And I had to learn that you will go crazy. Every little thing, you call and then leave a voicemail and a text and an email about the same topic, just send an email. Yeah. I think emails need to come back.
No, emails need to come back.
Emails are way better than texts. Yes. They're in one place.
Yes.
They need to be an email.
You know I can't waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can't waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can't waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
I'm also going to advocate for group notes.
Yes.
Notes with other people attached to it in your phone as like a living document for stuff. This is something I'm advocating for because it's something I use, and I'm ADHD, so nothing that I do well, right? But when I do it, I'm like, yes, I'm so glad I put that into place, you know, at least at bare bones minimum. But emails do need to come back. I'm actually in a place where I finally, thanks to Meraki Plants, they gave me their employee handbook, and I was like, thanks. Because we help each other a lot out with this like HR world.
Yeah.
And I'm finally at a place where I have to tell my employees, like, if you missed a clock, like, you have to email it to me. Yeah. Texting is going to get lost. So today's payroll day. I know I have about 5 missed clocks, and only one of them has been emailed to me because that's the first person I told, let's start emailing these.
It just keeps everything in one place.
Yeah, you can just search, subject line miss punch, and then I can just go through and I can deal with
And
things.
you're doing that thing on the computer anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have a big double wide screen, so it's like one on each side.
Yes, and
let's go through this.
I'm guilty of trying to do too much off of this little thing,
Yeah.
and I hate it.
I hate it.
I want to do it on the computer.
Big computer, big
on the
screen.
computer, yes.
My assistant, I pay her to sit in front of a screen all day. So if you're texting me, then I'm screenshotting, then I'm texting it to her. Just email us.
Yeah.
And then what's sad is we do group text with our clients. So clients, it's like, cool, shoot me a text. My assistant's in there. We understand. Most of the things we're doing is answering quick questions back and forth anyways.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a professional transaction, email. You should never text. And it's funny, I tell people all the time, they're like, you never pick up your phone. I said, I don't need to. And they're like, why? I go, because if you tell me something on the phone, I have had it happen where you think I'm agreeing to it when I'm not.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later,
yeah,
we close, and you're like, yo, but I called you about XYZ.
Yeah.
We never agreed to that. It needed to be on an official form.
Yeah.
But you said you would talk to your client. Yeah. And they said no.
Yeah.
So you should have sent me an email, and you should have put it in a form. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
Phones get you in too much trouble.
They do.
There's too much. You said this. I said that. It's like, dude, shoot me an email.
Yep. I love a good per your last
email.
I just
screenshot. Boom.
Insert.
That's a big thing. I do now. A lot of screenshots.
Yeah. It's I've been in this world of business since I was very young. So, I told you I started working at 14, and then by 19 I was working for a hospitality management company in Miami who managed very big nightclubs in Miami. And I was 19. I was the youngest marketing person on their team, never did it. It was this has been the trend of my life where people are like, here's this job you're not qualified for.
Go do it.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then School of Hard Knocks for sure. And I used to, there was a guy named Jax, and he was the security guard for one of the nightclubs. And he's like, you're running with wolves, Victoria. But I learned so much working for high stress jobs at a young age. And I learned at a very young age, emails and etiquette, all the things with emailing and just being professional, I guess. The BlackBerry era.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do. I just think about that. I used to be the person that made sure the airplanes flew across the beach with the club's information and how, and all the radio spots and all these different things. And it's I don't think I could have gotten any of that done if people were texting me all the time. You need to email.
Well,
and
finally,
follow this order.
And finally, Apple has allowed you to unread stuff on text messages.
Yes.
Finally. Yeah. And for me, it's just I'm going to have to do what you're asking me to do on the computer anyways. So just shoot me an email and it'll be in my computer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just makes life so much easier.
Or my customers who I love, but they's we see that you're very active on Instagram, so I thought I'd message you.
DM you.
Yes.
Listen.
And I'm which I appreciate, and maybe in that moment I can take care of it, but sometimes I can't. So sometimes I end up reading it and I'll say, okay, I'll get on that. And then...
So I learned this from my buddy who does my loans. He screenshots and then emails it to himself.
That's smart.
I was like, what are you doing? He's like, this was 6 months ago before Apple did that. He's like, boom, boom. I'm like, what was that? And he goes, someone texted me. I read it. I have to do something later. I just screenshot and email it to myself. Yeah. And so now it's in my inbox.
Today I need to go get something notarized. I already forgot my to-do list, but I have a bunch of little things that I have to get done. And the reason I was here right on time versus a little early was because I was wiring a check, and I was like, okay, I got to do business things.
Isn't it crazy how life, I have to go to a UPS store, and I've had something I've had to return for 2 weeks now. And I just haven't had the time to go do it.
I know.
Because it's I leave my house at 7 and I leave here and I get here at 7:30 and then I leave here at 7 and then I go home and then now I'm training for a marathon. So then I go run and then take care of the kids, eat dinner, shower, get up at 4:30, 5:30, do it all over again.
Yes.
And I think maybe I get one day off a week if I'm lucky.
Yeah, and you spend that day off like probably thinking about everything.
No, I check out.
You
now.
check out. That's
yeah.
good.
I'm at a point now where I absolutely I have 2 phones for a reason.
That's smart. So you keep your business separate from your personal.
Yeah, and actually I have 4 phone numbers too.
Wow.
So I have so people always go, oh, you could have a Google net, but yeah, but like my phone is still ringing. Like I don't want.
You don't want it to.
I don't even want to fill the ring. And then this year we started doing Grasshopper, which is you can have multiple lines and multiple extensions. So like I now know, like, because we have that new build project. So when you call that number, I don't want you just getting my cell number.
Yeah.
I want you to get like, hey, this is Bushnell Estates to talk to a sales rep +0. And then it'll call me. And then my phone will say new builds.
Got
so
it.
I can go, hey, Bushnell Estates, how are you doing? To just keep everything separated.
This is the kind of stuff that I feel like I wish I was in like a group chat for small businesses where you're like, hey guys, I found this new thing. Grasshopper.
Well, so like we have like masterminds every Monday with like 700-800 agents. And then we just started another one called Young Guns. It's like top realtors under 40.
But you need just something for small business owners.
Well, it's supposed to be the PIC group, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're saying that wasn't small business owners.
I just didn't get, and obviously I'll admit I didn't put enough energy into it that I should have.
Yeah.
That's
like
sometimes I let my attitude or perception of something stop me, and then I start weighing time versus reward very quickly in my head, and I go, is this really worth an hour of my time to go do this? Probably not. So I'll just go do something else.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
So it's like I have an hour free. Do I go here or go there? I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah.
Like even with the podcast, I have to tell people no now.
Yeah.
Like people will be like, I want to be on the podcast. I'm like, what do we talk about?
Yeah.
That's not the brand I want to perceive, or I don't think we have a good 40 minutes of talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're at an hour.
I know.
Yeah.
I have like
you did a podcast.
Yeah. I have a brain that like you, I always pick up a lot of random information.
Yeah.
So I can and I've lived many lives. I feel like I could talk
For
about
sure.
random things.
I just think for me, it's like, I think communication is the one thing that people don't process when it comes to life, and I think work. It's just like, and most people talk to the wrong people, and then they wonder why their lives get worse. It's like it's like the people they're talking to are gonna give them the bad advice. So then it's like, that is the hardest part when you're trying to start a business, is because none of your people around you are small business owners. You've
gotta almost research a little bit, at least if you're going for someone who's going to mentor you.
Yes.
You want to research that person a little bit, make sure that you're aligned in some way with you want what they have. They have to have something that you want.
And you need to bring something, because people always go like, how do I get, it's like you have to also bring something to them that they don't know how to do. And that is the hard part.
I think in any business, so like there's a bunch of coffee shops, right?
Yes.
Like everywhere you go, there's a coffee shop. But I'm sure most of them are successful because they all have their own thing that they bring to the table. But if you don't bring your own finesse and your own style to the table, and you're just like copying the next guy who did something popular and made it, it's like you're not going to have the same success, because they're going to always be 2 to 3 steps ahead of you because they are the originator of that thing.
That's what you see a lot in real estate, actually.
Yeah.
You'll see people, and it's happened to me, people will work for me, and they'll take all the ideas that they see here, and then they'll go to somewhere else, and then you'll see their progression of what they're doing end. And people go, why is that? I go, everything you saw was me. It wasn't them. So when they're on their own, they don't know how, they've never had to think of an idea on their own. This is all me.
Yeah.
So it's like, unless they're not going to keep calling me because they don't work for me anymore. And so that is also the thing that, and with social media nowadays, it's like, what is real and what is not? You know what I mean? Like, I laugh all the time. People are like, oh, that guy is crushing it. I go, those are fake followers. How do you know? Look at like, this guy has no followers, but he works for so-and-so, and he wrote a book, and he's a Amazon #1 seller. I'm like, I know a guy that writes books and he sells them for a penny in the Philippines, and it becomes a #1 seller in Amazon. That's the game. You know what I mean? Or I can rent a Lambo, to rent a Lambo is $2,000. If I rent a Lambo and take 1 million photos next to it in one day and post it for a year, and you think I own a Lambo to sell you a coaching program, I end up able to buy a new Lambo because of all the coaching programs that I sold you that are crap.
You like, I feel like you just open a can of worms about Miami and like a lot of things that I despise about that city too. Like, just everything's just so fake and phony. And again, not to get too personal, my daughter's father, who's not in her life at all, but he is, I guess, a real estate agent. I really don't know, in Miami. And I remember, and I've known him since a long time, and I remember telling him, like, you know, what are you like doing though? Like, what are you doing to be successful? Like, how many, like, what are you like, do you have a newsletter? Do you have social media? Are you educating your audience? Are you giving them free knowledge? Are you helping them in any way? And I mean, nothing, like doing the bare min, you know, and expecting results. And like, I am always blown away that people want to be like the best or make money or be successful, and they don't want to put the work in. And
they don't even know the level it takes. You know, it's like crazy. It's like
also like they're only seeing your success. They're only seeing the
lack of the success
whatever
too.
It is.
Like I know
a
guy.
They don't see all the work that you took
to get there,
to get to that point, whatever that point is. Even if it's not where you want to be, but it's still probably better where they're at.
And I think everyone thinks $1 million is so easy to make. Like, I'm gonna make $1 million. Okay, good luck.
Also, it doesn't get you that far.
No, $1 million is not that much money anymore. Like I tell people all the time, they're like, I'm gonna make $1 million. I'm like, you know how hard it is to make $1 million a year? I'm like, you make 400,000 and you're a 1%er in the United States. You think you're gonna double that? How? And not work 80 hours a week or be really, really good at something?
I could tell you that when I'm working my business is working. When I'm not working my business,
you're always on.
It's just, you know,
you're always on.
You've got to be doing it.
It's like this. I'm not going to do 104 podcasts next year. That's to think everyone. I hope everyone knows. Think about 104 podcasts is a minimum 104 hours to just of shooting time.
Did you do 104 podcasts this year?
No. Last year I did. This year I'll do 60. I think.
That's so a lot.
Next year is 104.
Next year?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Next year is 104. That's 2 podcasts a week.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
And is it
happening?
The same podcast or different podcast?
No, this.
Okay.
So 104 next year. 2, I'm running a marathon June 4th, San Diego. Anyone want to join? Let me know. I'm drinking no alcohol until I make $1 million. If that takes me a year, 6 months, or 10 years,
Nothing
whatever.
Wrong with that.
No alcohol for that.
Yeah.
I got to be up at 5:30 every morning, Monday through Friday. I have to post 3 times a week. I have to post 7 times a week videos for business. And then 2 of these podcasts.
I love that goals. Like that's kind of and
if I don't do it, I owe someone $250 a week.
There you go. I was like, who's your accountability partner?
So James Shelby and me are doing $250 a week, and at the end of the year, whatever you have on your jar on your desk of cash, you have to donate to the other person's charity.
I love that.
It's like, why am I gonna? Oh, you only made $500,000. Here's an extra $1,000 or whatever. It's like it doesn't make sense. So it's like we'll just write a check to the other person's charity. Like whatever. So whatever's in his jar has to go to mine, and whatever's in mine has to go to his.
Yeah. That's smart.
That's the goal.
Yeah, because I'm always, again, you can't like live in your little silo. You got to have like
you got to find accountability people.
Yes, you got to find people. So that's kind of where I'm at so I have like my friend who has her toy shop in Ohio. I have another friend in Florida who's she's been doing small business for her. She's an interior decorator, designer. For like 5+ years, and these are just the people I call. I'm like, okay, this is my goal. I'm my therapist. This is my goal. So like this year, I was like, I need to get my employee handbook. Like there's like little things that for my employees I wanted to get situated. I'm like, I've done that. You know, making sure like sales tax. Next year, my goal is to actually pay sales tax or to save my sales tax and not like think it's my money to spend. So then I have to pay it at the end of the year. I never made enough for them to do quarterly locally in the state of California, but now I do, where I have to pay quarterly starting next year because after.
You know, I would say I don't know how that works. I never pay quarterly, but
I was only annually for 2 years, and I mean this year I made a decent amount in California, and I feel like they should have called me sooner and been like, you should start paying that sales tax to us.
So I refer. I refer.
What's refer?
Like I refer. I don't pay quarterly. I'd rather pay at the end.
I would love to pay at the end of the year if I was good at saving the money, but I definitely didn't save it.
Like
so
next year I'll probably file an extension.
I feel like next year what will happen is like all my sales for like the month of January will have to go pay my sales tax. And that'll be what it is. But I have like these little goals for my business that's like get me more organized, get me in a better place, you know, eventually maybe hire a CFO or somebody who does that maybe more in a consultant manner in the beginning, because I don't think I could afford
read the book Traction.
I'll read the book Traction. And then for next year for myself, like I don't work out. I literally
You want to run a marathon?
I'm not running any marathons.
Okay.
Definitely not running any marathons here. The only marathons I can run are like nursing marathons where I nurse my daughter all the time. But I do have like a goal for next year. I finally hired a nanny to help and support me, which is a big, I think, support in many areas of my life, because I wouldn't even be able to sit here like this long if I didn't have her. I would have like my baby with me. She literally would come with me everywhere
to the shop and everything.
She's always at the shop, and she'd still be with me, but to have like that person to give the baby to while I get stuff done. So with that will come a sense of rhythm, I think, in my life, and that is my big 2023 thing, is rhythm for my business, rhythm for me, like just get into a rhythm that's
that momentum,
that's not fast, that's slow, that's set up for slowness, that's set up for days out in the mountains with my children, and I get to buy, hopefully in 2023, my first property by myself. And for me, I'm like sitting here because I'm such an entrepreneur. I was like, do I buy my home or do I buy my vacation home? Yeah. And it's probably going to be the vacation home.
And then Airbnb it.
Yeah. It's not to like Airbnb it so much as that I would rather have a place
to check out too.
I would rather.
Forces you to go.
I love my apartment. Yeah. I love in my little 2-bedroom apartment that's great for my single mom life. And I would be so happy to either have a small little cabin in the woods or something that I can go to, and yes, Airbnb it when I'm not there, but like essentially it really just be this place I can escape with my kids to. And then kind of to piggyback on that, who knows, maybe become in the long term that single mom sanctuary that I want, you know? So I don't know. I like that you have like these very specific posting. Like for me, I have a marketing person, and our goal is to get our social media calendar, again, rhythm.
Look into a system called Hero Post. I schedule all my posts out for all like my like general stuff. I schedule out until February.
Well, that's why I have to actually sit down and plan it, and that's kind of what I think. Sitting down and actually spending that day and being like, today I'm dressed nice, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to the shop and make content. But I should actually just every week do that, not just
we only shoot Mondays.
Not be sporadic thing where I'm like, today I'm dressed nice, so I'm gonna do it today. But I should actually plan like Mondays
shoot day, Tuesday's podcast day, Wednesday is kind of my half free day, Thursday is where I have to drive around Riverside and shoot neighborhood videos, Fridays get ready for the weekend, Saturday's open house, Sunday open house, back on Monday.
Exactly. You have a rhythm. So like I used to have some sort of rhythm in the shop, but then having the baby kind of threw it off. Like I said, every time you have like any sort of change in your life, your business has to kind of flex and change too.
I read a book one time and it said the difference between successful people and non-successful people is when the bumps in your world happen. Very successful people let it affect them for a day or two. Non-successful people let it affect them for months. Yeah. And that's, I think, the biggest thing is you're gonna get like to think like, oh, I'm gonna have the perfect schedule, and
you're not.
No, it is. But how quickly can you bump? How quickly can you go? Okay, I yesterday was an absolute shit show. I didn't get anything done. I had issues at the house. Okay, tomorrow 5:30 I'm up. Let's go right back at it. You know what I mean? And I think that is the ability to bounce back super quickly and not dwell on things is what will separate people from success or not.
Yeah, and this was like something we used to associate Trump with a long time ago, that like resilience, that he like, you know, bounced back from bankruptcies and things like that, like this bounce back. I feel like going back to like last year where my father had passed away, and it's like, oh yeah, I had the ability to be that person that was things just were not great for months, and it was okay. Like people were understanding, customers were understanding, companies were understanding. Everybody was like, whatever you need, we got you, because we communicated. Yeah. That's the other thing. Fear is like a big deal with communicating things sometimes. Like I grew up in a home that was affected by alcoholism and addiction. So I have this like perfectionism thing and I have this like sense of urgency thing and this
afraid of letting people down.
Yes, and then also just like to get in trouble.
Yeah.
What does that mean? First of all, like many people don't know, like there's no one who's gonna like come knocking on your door if you're like a day late for an invoice, you know? So even if you just sit and send an email and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I'm going through, like 9 out of 10 times people are, maybe even 10 out of 10 times people are going to understand. And you just have to communicate.
I think communication, like for us, like we manage 30 properties. Like if you're going to be late on your rent, just shoot me an email saying, hey, this is what happened.
This is when you can expect it.
This is when you can expect it. Can you please let the seller know like XYZ? Because if you don't, I'm then hitting you with an email. Hey, where's rent at? No response. Then I'm hitting you with a 3-day notice to evict you. And then it's like, then in the third day, the check comes in, and then I'm like, dude, you made me send an email. Yeah. You made the seller call me, ask me where his money's at. You had all these things happen. If you had just said, hey, XYZ happened, my boss didn't pay us, or this didn't happen, you'll have the check this day. Like, at least the information can be done.
But because we're human. I mean?
Exactly.
Everybody's human, so, yeah.
I agree. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for coming by. You know, it takes to be a little crazy to run your own business.
I agree.
Or it makes you a little bit crazy. One or the other.
A little bit of both.
Both.
You know, I'm not unique. There's nothing special about
same
me.
Here.
I just took a risk.
Yeah, I took a risk. I think you take the risk and you just realize it is going to be nothing you see on Instagram, and you better be ready to work your ass off for years. Yes. And you're not going to have the Gucci bag. Yes. Or the Ferrari.
Also, you know, just because someone has photos of themselves in front of all kinds of nice locations, it doesn't mean that they paid for it.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that it's real. It could be a green screen. Who
I agree.
knows?
Green screens are really good. So,
yeah.
So if you have kids and you need some solid wood toys and some plastic.
Yeah, some plastic silicone toys.
Yes. Or just in downtown Riverside, walk down to the corner of Main. What's that cross street?
We're off of Main and 5th.
Main and 5th.
Next to Graham's.
Next to Graham's Barbecue. Next to the Convention Center. Next to the Marriott and the the Hyatt.
And then we're also online. And we ship. And that's thingstheylove.co, not .com.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time stopping by the podcast room. And until next time, guys. Peace.